So when it's clean, and there's no more fur there, that's when we could actually wash that area as well. So we wouldn't bathe a rabbit, generally speaking. Rabbit's fur becomes quite thick and matted and wet, so it's very hard to dry. It also causes rabbit stress, and they can go into shock if they are not used to that kind of treatment. So the best thing to do is either you clip off the fur that's damp and dirty, and then give it a small wash in the area that is affected. Such as, what we'll do today is I won't actually clip off around here, but what we'll do today is, as in a clean, is we would clean the scent glands here, and we can do that with just this either side of the genitals there. You've got these little scent glands, and they do clog up with this sort of thick discharge in there, and the rabbits can't quite, especially when they're older, they can't actually groom themselves. So what we use is wet cotton balls, and then what you can do is wash that part out, and just so you can put it on your missy. That sort of does come out, and then you give it a bit of a clean. Rabbits can end up with an infection in their scent glands if they're not cleaned and kept clean. There you go. Oops. There you go, sweetie. Okay, we'll do that side too. I know. I'm getting the... I'm going over today. Gotcha. Hang on. Nearly there. Alright. Oh. Sometimes they're hard to get out too. Okay. There we go. And everything's okay in there. There you go, sweetie. If we did have to wash a rabbit and there was a particular reason why we had to give her quite a wet area, or even just the rabbit got wet in the rain or some reason, you wouldn't leave the rabbit outside in particular, because they can become quite stressed. Their fur will get matted, they will become quite cold, and their body temperature will drop. So always make sure that if you do have a wet rabbit that you do dry them off. That will be with a towel, just to make sure everything's nice and dry. And then with a hairdryer on low, you can actually just blow dry the fur around as well and make sure that it's nice and dry as well. After that, parasite control for a bunny. They do sometimes get fleas. It's rare unless they're sharing a household with dogs and cats. If they're just a household of rabbits, generally you don't get fleas in the house anyway. You can treat the most common problem with rabbits though is for parasite control is mites. And they get those if their immunity is a little bit low, or they're elderly, or they've also bonded with another rabbit that's got mites as well. They can sort of transfer one to another. It does come in on the hay. It's very common. It just depends on the rabbit of how good their health is, whether or not they can fight off the mites on their own. If they can't, you would see normally on the fur, but Missy doesn't have any, so I can't really show you, but you would find like a dandruffy patch of skin around here. There'd usually be, maybe it becomes a little bit bald, and the skin would become quite white and dandruffy in texture, I suppose. And to find out if you did have mites, it's kind of obvious because you'd see that, but that's just the result of the mites. It's not the mites themselves, because you can't see them because they're microscopic. You would take a sample of the fur from the roots and put it under a microscope, and then you'd see the mites under the microscope. So if you did have this problem, the only safe treatment for a rabbit for mites and fleas as well is revolution. So revolution for a rabbit under 2 kilos is the kitten and puppy one. If they're over 2 kilos, they can have the cat version. So it's just a matter of opening this up. This is the only safe one for rabbits. There are, like, Advantage I think is okay, but it only treats fleas and not mites. This one actually treats fleas and mites. There are some ones that are quite toxic to rabbits, and for example, Frontline is actually is toxic to rabbits and will kill them. So never use Frontline. Advantage I think doesn't really do as much as it should do, but this is the only one that's really quite useful. So we'll just pop that on her. She doesn't have mites, but we'll do it anyway just in case, because she's older, and sometimes you never know, she's got some bits going on. So where you put it is down the back here. You open it, like particularly for bunnies, they can't really sort of reach around to that spot. So where you're popping it is peeling open a little bit of fur there, finding the skin, and then
as you saw, you just squeeze it onto the area, and that then makes its way around the body and kills off the mites. So anything with putting mite treatment on a rabbit is make sure that if you're doing it for a bonded pair, that you make sure that this does dry off before the other rabbit, before they're rebonded again, because one bunny could lick the other one and then it could be affected by the alcohol in the treatment. So apart from that, that's it for my grooming video. I hope I've covered everything. Thank you.